I'm Andy Costello, commercial real estate broker. I'm here with Joey Yorchek, the owner of PNW Aging Specialty Services.
Great.
Thanks for joining me today, Joey. Tell us a little bit about what you and your team do here.
Yeah, well, thank you, Andy. And of course, as always, thanks for having me. So I am the owner of PNW Aging Specialty Services, and we offer aging support services.
And how did you get into this industry or come up with the idea to transition into what you're doing?
Well, actually, my career started as just a really young pup a long time ago, so long ago. But actually, I started kind of getting into the industry when I was a fiduciary. So I worked for a local fiduciary company here in Vancouver, Washington, and we offered services like guardianships, conservatorships. We were appointed to the courts, and so I actually used to be a certified professional guardian and a national certified guardian. And that honestly, I think, sort of kicked off my love for helping support that aging population, the aging population, and of course the disabled population. And did that for almost 12 years. I loved what I did, and I just wanted to do something that I think was a little bit more person to person, a little more connected. And so I actually found a company named Elfin Services, and I started working for Elfin Services back in, 2016, I think it was. And honestly, I loved what I loved what Elfin did, and I loved, coming to work and doing the things that we did. And Elfin decided that it was time for the owners to retire. They had been doing it for over 20 years, and the opportunity came that I was able to carry on that legacy of Elfin Services and created PNW Aging.
That's awesome. That's cool how people are lucky enough to fall into the career that they're in.
Yeah, because I was supposed to be a Spanish teacher.
Which you would be a very entertaining Spanish teacher.
Yeah. Hola! So it's interesting how, you have these visions and these dreams of things that you're, wanting to do growing up. And, and actually it's also interesting, a lot of people don't know this, is my college education, my degree is actually in hospitality management.
Oh, but there's a lot of crossover into what you're doing.
There definitely is.
Yeah, the customer service aspect. So obviously having a business, whether you've purchased one or, making it your own, what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced since launching?
Yeah, so we just launched, PNW Aging in September. So I've just sort of passed my 4-month marker of being in business as the new company. And so I think that, there's some challenges for figuring out how to be owner, administrator, sort of figuring that out, how to do that at the same time. So far that seems to be going pretty well. But I think, honestly, that the biggest challenge right now has really been the pandemic. And I say that the pandemic really, I think, has just changed a lot of how things operate, and especially in the healthcare industry. And of course, with advancements in technology and sort of people wanting to change careers, there's a little bit of a challenge with staffing and hiring good quality caregivers. And I think the challenge really is trying to keep up with all of the changes. And really, we have so many people who continue to need help, continue to need those support services. And I think that it can be very challenging sort of keeping up with how things continue to change and how rapidly they're all changing.
That makes sense.
Sort of like the real estate industry. There's been a lot of changes.
There has been a lot of changes. But, I've watched you, in your last career or in your last role and where you are now. And, it's clear that you're having successes and some early wins. What do you attribute that success to?
Yeah, I guess I would attribute that to just being a normal person, honestly. I think really just being connected with people and being empathetic and showing people that you genuinely care about what it is that you do and valuing those connections with people.
Yeah.
I really feel like that is what I attribute to being successful.
That makes sense. What's one thing that you'd want the community to know about PNW Aging Specialty Services?
Yeah, I think the one thing I want people to know really is that you don't have to necessarily do it alone. I think that so often people get stuck. I think it's really hard because there's so many different layers of what goes into the age, what happens when you're aging and what are the resources that are needed, what are really those supports that people could access. And it's not always that easy to find that information, to access that information, to navigate through all the different healthcare systems. And so I think for me, and PNW Aging, is that we are a company that provides sort of that inclusive care experience. So whether you need, say, somebody helping to make sure mom's getting to the doctor and scheduling her follow-up appointments, or even if it's something as simple as filling those medications and picking up those prescriptions and making sure they're making it into the Mediset, sort of with that inclusive care experience I talk about with the case management. We also do the in-home care. And of course, there's a lot of people nowadays that just don't have, they're sort of the adult orphan. So they don't have that person that, hey, who's going to make sure that I'm taken care of down the road? Who's going to advocate for me? Who's going to make those decisions for me when I'm not able to do that myself? So I think that knowing that there's a company like PNW Aging that offer all those different support services, that's what I would want people to know.
That's a lot. You guys wear a lot of hats here.
Yeah. So, and more to come.
That's exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting.
Video part 2. So tell everybody where you're located or the best way to reach out if they want to learn more or have an initial conversation.
Yeah, sure. So we're over here close to the Vancouver Mall. We're off of Vancouver Mall Drive. And I would say the best way to get a hold of us is you can check out our website at www.pnwaging.com. You can also give us a call at 360-883-3569. We're 24/7. So whether we're actually in the office, we're always working. We always have somebody who is available and on call after hours. But our actual office hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 3. And certainly you can always come by, even if it's just have questions or looking for some information on what resources are available. We also have a lot of great resources for people that we work with in the community on our website. So you can always certainly check those out. But we're here to help people with the aging process.
That's awesome. Thanks, Joey.
Yeah, thank you.
It's always a pleasure to catch up. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. Take care of yourself, and if you can, someone else too. I will see you soon.
Bye.